David Hebner with The Last Evangelist, that David Hebner TV. Not only is he going to give you the latest on the television series, but we're going to talk about Bible prophecy and Netflix. They have really hit the news just this past week with Obama and the United Nations. We're talking New World Order kind of stuff with the Netflix deal there. But I'm going to let him tell you about it. So David, are you with me over there?
Hey, Lisa, how are you there?
I'm doing good. I'm glad I brought you on.
Yeah, good to see you. Hey, yeah, okay, so first about The Last Evangelist. We're now in pre-production, so I'm excited about that. And what is pre-production? It's before you go into production. So we're about 2 to 3 months away from starting our principal photography, but we're officially in pre-production, okay? And by the way, you're going to be in it, right? And so I'm excited about that. But if anybody wants to know more about it, Lisa, they can go to lastevangelist.com and they can sign the newsletter. We're making this series through God's people, through their donations, so you can check that out. And we're going to be talking about davidheavener.tv, our new Roku and Amazon channel here in the moment. However, boy, oh boy, do we have something we need to talk about. Okay, so are you ready for this? The Obamas, Barack and Michelle, have signed a multi-year deal with Netflix. Now, not a multi-picture, Lisa, a multi-year deal with Netflix. And what does this mean? Well, this means it's like furniture. They're going to be around for a long time inside the house of Netflix, okay? And so when I first heard this, it was like I was just in shock because, again, what better way to bring in the agenda than to have people like the Obamas and the United Nations in bed with a huge force, mega force like Netflix, okay? Now you know, and most people know, I don't really get political. That's not this. God hasn't called me into that battlefield. But the reason I'm bringing this up is that if I were to write this in The Last Evangelist, it would be so brilliant because, like I said, what better way to bring this agenda into the people that's geared toward the end times, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Netflix, you know, kind of in that same vein, they have really gone with a leftist, progressive, anti-gun, anti-patriotic slant on some of their latest videos, which could be why you have Obama sticking his hands in there, the United Nations sticking their hands in there. So how can you specifically tell me how the UN is involved?
Yeah, well, everybody remembers Susan Rice, right? She was the spokesperson. She was a former Obama advisor. Well, I found this very strange, Lisa, that several months ago, Netflix found it important that they would ask her to be on the board of Netflix. Hey, by the way, Susan Rice was also ambassador to the UN. Do you see what I'm saying? They're very strategic in who they're inviting to this party. And quite frankly, if you're a Christian, and even if you're not a Christian, but you're sovereign-minded, forget about sovereign-minded, that you have a mind at all, you're going to be concerned about this, okay? The Obamas have formed a production company called Higher Ground Productions. Higher Ground. I giggle at that. They're going to do shows that, I'm going to paraphrase here, that they believe that people are going to love out there, that their purpose is to bring humanity together, okay? And of course, if you look at the administration, the way they brought humanity together, and if their shows resemble anything like what they did during the administration, bringing people together, you tell me what you think is going to happen to the people. Are they going to be brought together, Lisa, or are they going to fall apart?
There's a lot of ways that could go. But when you take people, you know, I guess ultimately, when everything piles down in a nutshell, you've got Netflix. It is its own monster villain, if you will. It's kind of growing. You had cable, broke up from cable, then went Netflix. A lot of people closed their cable down for things like Amazon and Netflix.
Amazon, that's it. What happens when you cross Netflix with Amazon? You got Namazon. should actually go out and form a company like that.
I'm going to pin that. That's my name. So now, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so for Amazon people, I guess. But yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways that these things could go. And I guess we kind of have to pay attention. What Mrs. Rice is going to do. Is it going to play a role? Is there any way, I guess, that it can be used, say, by principalities of the future, by a New World Order, or anything of that nature?
Well, Lisa, look, you understand The Last Evangelist is all about CSI meets the Book of Revelation. It's all about I play a cop who bust underground churches, and I constantly am investigating the Antichrist, cashless society. So that's what I'm all about now with this TV series. And Lisa, when I see this happening, when you have a monster company like Netflix come in and bring the Obamas, and then they happen to bring Susan Rice, who was hooked up with the UN, and she was Obama's advisor, and you start seeing this agenda happening, wouldn't any normal person look and go, wait a minute, I think this is a little slanted? You see, the programming that Netflix puts out, it already is child pornography. They have a show called Big Mouth, which promotes child pornography, and I'm not going to get into that right now, but clearly Netflix has an agenda to destroy the family. I believe the next agenda is to control the people, okay? And so to control the people, they have to have the right players in place. And this is what really concerns.
Well, I have to agree. I mean, it's not just Netflix, though. It's cable television. It's all of it. To say one over the other, I guess they're all kind of equal in that manner. And so you're getting brainwashed and manipulated through television, through Netflix, through magazines, through all kinds of different avenues and venues. Now, I showed on my report a few times, there was a document that came accidentally leaked, if you want to call it that. I forget, there was a reporter who requested it. It was through Mock Rock or Mock Rook or something like that. It was a reporter there. He requested a Freedom of Information Act from a Washington Fusion Center, and it was about Antifa is what he was requesting. And instead he got back this document that proved and showed that there is mass brainwashing going on through even cellular devices. We have your internet, your cellular phones. This is something that is not aside from the U.S. government. So there is mind control and manipulation. So if I show you, say, a Twix bar over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, well, eventually you're going to want a Twix bar. You're going to think it's the best thing. But that's a sort of brainwashing, sort of advertising, call it that. But it is a type of brainwashing, getting you to see something over and over again until you desire that product. Well, they do that with politics. They do that with school. They do that on other levels and on the television, not just in your commercials, but certain ideals. Like if they want the anti-gun agenda, well, in 50, 60, 70 different movies, if everybody's against gun in movies and everybody's watching these movies and not aware of these techniques, then they will easily fall into that slant of, well, I'm against guns too, because everybody else in the world is, even though they're not, because you've seen so many programs of that venue. So I hear that out loud and clear, and I think it's absolutely a great point.
Yeah, amen to that. But you see, the difference between Netflix and cable television and terrestrial TV and radio is that there is no rating system. Remember, when you go into theaters, you see rated R, right? PG-13. On television, there seems to be a certain rating system. However, with Netflix, there's no one rating them. There's no one monitoring them. There's no one to tell Christian families what's really going on. So I'm here to tell you that if you're a Christian or even you're morally, you have a moral consciousness, you need to think about disconnecting Netflix. You know, we formed davidheavener.tv, and on it is our new Roku and Amazon channel. And it's 7 channels of truth. We have the Right to Life channel. We're saving babies. We have the prayer channel, the supernatural channel, even the independent film festival channel, and so forth. And I encourage people to go here, sign up. This is where you're going to see Last Evangelist. Disconnect Netflix, okay? And the reason is because they're anti-Christian, they're anti-God, and you can clearly see they have an agenda. I wouldn't mind if they, I mean, it's not that they bring the Obamas in that really bothers me. It's the fact that they don't have equal time to people that are God-loving and God-fearing and conservative. What say you?
You know, I think an alternative is absolutely, you know, a good thing, especially for the morality of culture. The little more moral that we can go, the more, you know, cleaner things are, I guess the better ultimately. But yeah, why don't you share your information if people want to subscribe to your newsletter or any of that? Will you share any of that information that you have?
Sure, Lisa. The website is lastevangelist.com. Please go there and sign the newsletter. Become a partner. God said, don't go to investors, go to my people. So that's how we're funding this. And number two, go to davidheavener.tv. That's where they're going to see my show and your show, Lisa. And they're also going to watch The Last Evangelist and get the 7 channels of truth. So we can beat Netflix on this. We've got our own Netflix. So davidheavener.tv.
Well, thanks again for coming on my channel, David. I truly appreciate it. And again, all the links are below if you guys want to check out the latest on the movie. And thanks again for turning into my channel here. I'm Lisa Haven, and that was David Heavener signing out.